What's going on, Soul Nation? Ginger Prime here, and thanks for coming and checking out this 2021 tier list video as we look at some of the games that I'm most excited for going into 2021. If there's a game that I missed on this list that you're excited about, let me know as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you're most excited for in 2021. And if you guys would like this as a template, let me know. I'll try to include a link in the description for you guys so you can go download this file and kind of make your own tier list and go from there. So let's have some fun. We're going to kick this off with a game that got delayed out of 2020 and into 2021, apparently the fall list. I'm going to rank this right now as an S. My hype for Halo Infinite is really high. Now, hopefully these games and where they fall in my hype list match up in the quality of the game itself. So we might have to do a follow-up video here next year, see like where we look at how 2021 compared to where I was hoping it would fall. But beyond that, Halo Infinity, right now rumors being that they might even drop base Xbox One support. And I kind of actually on board with that, where originally I wasn't, especially in 2020, obviously with Series X not readily available, but over the course of the next year, hopefully more people can get their hands on it. Plus you could also get your hands on like a 380, a better graphics card. Like at the end of the day, as you know, things kind of keel out, it'll be interesting to see what happens ultimately, and if those rumors prove to be true. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. But regardless, I've been a huge Halo fan my entire life. I've played all the Halos, and actually outside of Reach, maybe I'll get that fixed over this weekend. But I've played all the main Halo games, and I think I'm really excited to go hands on with Halo Infinite here, namely because I know the amount of time that I put into 4, 3, and 5 is a lot of time playing with my friends and just overall enjoying this game. I can't wait to see where it goes in the long run, and hopefully we get a really good story and obviously really great multiplayer. And the fact that it's coming to PC and it's going to be more available, I think is a big win for Halo right from the start. But that's I have one other shooter on this list. Let's go ahead and talk about Final Fantasy 16. I'm going to rank that as a God tier game. And I am so hyped for Final Fantasy 16. The development team behind this game is the development team behind Heavensward. They've been working on this game since 2016. I very much believe that it's going to fall into 2021. Obviously, all these games are subject to delays. Obviously, we've seen that happen all throughout 2020. But hopefully 2021 gets us back on track and gets lots of these games just pumping out and crushing it. I believe in what Yoshi P is working on, and they're bringing an M-rated Final Fantasy game, and I think what we're going to see hopefully is a really great story, something that feels completely complete. And if you guys have followed my thoughts on Final Fantasy 15 at all, note that 15 I felt was like a really good game when you take all of the parts into it, but we can't do that again. Let's not do that again, Square. Just have the game complete, and that way we don't have to sit here and like read and have to leave the game to experience the true story or the real deep story. And all that said, now I know there's people who will debate on DLC, and I think, yeah, DLC might be fine as long as the game does not rely on it whatsoever. It doesn't. The DLC doesn't take your enjoyment of a game from like an 8 to a 10 or something like that. As long as that happens or does not happen in that case, and it's just added extra content, then I would support it in that case. So I'm excited to see what Yoshi P can do, what his team and his entire division is working on. So I think that's a really strong game. Now, if anybody here has been following the channel, they'll know Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis dropping in Japan is a part of the current game in 2021 in February. And then essentially, I think New Genesis is going to be easily on track for the first half of 2021. We were talking about this on stream today, and New Genesis is looking incredible. And I've been actually playing Phantasy Star Online 2 again, working to get my Scion classes. And so personally speaking, I can say that New Genesis definitely one of those games. And you're going to see a real big theme here throughout this video with these games that I'm very, very excited for. Now let's go ahead and jump in. Let's talk about, let's get some balance to our board here. And oh, by the way, we might do some shifting of the board as, you know, everything kind of comes together. So just note that this might not be finalized if you're watching it at certain parts of the video itself. I want to bring up Avengers, and the reason is I'm still actually playing Avengers. I thought about making a video titled Why I'm Still Playing Avengers, and I decided ultimately not to do that kind of video because I'm there's parts of Avengers that I really enjoy. I've been playing the Kate Bishop DLC. Hawkeye DLC is on its way. We know like more Marvel characters are coming down the pipeline. But the more I play, the more I realize that Avengers needs a lot of work to really sink its teeth into it. There is a really great game from a single player story, narrative driven experience. But then its endgame loop and its processing, like it leaves a lot to be desired. And I think that they really need to kind of rethink that. If they can do that, along with the updates to Avengers and things like that, it'd be a game that I'd be happy to kind of invest more time into. But ultimately, at the end of the day, especially with some of these other games on the list, some of these other games just do it better. And then the question is that why would I go and play Avengers? I'm going to put Avengers from a hype level right now down into the E category. While I'm looking forward to seeing, the King of Wakanda, Black Panther make his way into the game, while I'm looking forward or still disappointed by the whole Spider-Man exclusive PlayStation stuff. Obviously, I'm still disappointed in that. I hope they could turn the game around. Generally, when I'm playing, especially as like Kate Bishop, it's a good, fun time. At the end of the day, though, like, it's definitely going to be one that is easily quickly dropped in favor of some of these other games. All right, let's go ahead and actually do our first MMO. I'm going to bring in New World right now. I'm going to put New World kind of right now, I would say between an A and a B in terms of hype. I really loved what I played in 2020 of New World as a part of the preview event, and I really want to go play more of it. They just actually released some notes about what they've added. They've recently added a spear and a great axe, and how they're talking about changing up PvP and adding duels and doing all these different things into the game itself. All of that sounds really good, and I really hope that they can deliver on it. So I'm really glad they delayed the game to kind of put more work into it. So at the end of the day, as whenever this releases here in 2021, I'm excited to play it, and I really hope that they knock it out of the park. At that all being said, though, is that I still feel like I'm glad they delayed it. It needs work, and if they can take that time and really refine it, I'm worried, though, that they're going to take this game and make it more like WoW. I think when it comes down to it, one of the reasons why so many MMOs really have struggled is because they continue to try and copy WoW and just kind of change the color palette or the zone design. And when people look at that and they're like, why would I have left WoW? Same kind of concept with 14. 14 and WoW are very similar in a lot of ways. And I hope that they can really lean into the sandbox style and then bring in some of that theme park elements to help kind of give people a driving force, something that will help motivate them to finish some parts of the different stories and understand the characters in the world a little bit more. But we'll have to wait and see. Activision, Amazon hasn't had the best track record at releasing their games, but their Luma cloud streaming system is now out in beta. So I'm hoping also that maybe that comes to that platform as well, and maybe even other platforms beyond just PC Steam in this case. Anyway, that's where New World's gonna fall. I'm gonna go and we're gonna just knock out our MMO section here real quick. I'm gonna bring in Ashes of Creation. I'm gonna rank Ashes of Creation based off of everything we've seen from them as an A. Now, maybe this game doesn't make 2021 and all, but they're still doing kind of their alpha tests. What they keep showing off seems really interesting, and while I haven't really covered it much here on the channel itself, I can say that Ashes of Creation is really interesting. Something I definitely would say and put this in, like if you're not watching out for Ashes of Creation, just put that on your radar, and hopefully if they're ready to go in 2021, I think that's going to be ultimately really exciting to see. So that's where I'm just going to leave it. I'm really hyped for Ashes. I hope that they can crush it, knock it out of the park, but we're still in kind of a waiting pattern to see ultimately what becomes of that game here in a bit. All right, so I said we're sticking with MMOs. Let's stick with MMOs. I think Shadowbringers is or Final Fantasy XIV is a great example, but I'm going to lower that down, and I know I'm probably going to get some grief from longtime Final Fantasy fans for that. That's okay. I welcome all your hates and dislikes. But Final Fantasy XIV, I think Shadowbringers in and of itself is a great game, and maybe I should do a post over this on Ginger Gaming Radio before I wrap up for the holidays, but I think the story of the game, especially going through 5.3, is great. I'm looking forward to where the story goes with into 6.0. But I think that Final Fantasy XIV needs a major refresh in terms of its endgame design. We kind of get the drumbeat of two tomes in a raid kind of mindset, and while that is perfectly safe, I think a lot of people, a lot of longtime players are kind of tired of them playing it safe in terms of their endgame progression and endgame systems. Who knows what we'll end up seeing? I'm very excited to see ultimately what they can kind of bring out. I believe that the team is working hard on it. I really have enjoyed my time with Shadowbringers, but all in all, with the 6.0, this probably will definitely raise up once we hear these plans, what they're working on. And that's going to happen in February. So not too much longer right now based off everything that's going on in the game. COVID hasn't been kind to the game itself. You can kind of feel it whenever you have really long gaps in content in the game. And because the story, while it's so great, you can only play through the story so many times, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion in that case. Let's bring in Destiny 2, the Witch Queen. Yes, I'm counting Destiny 2 as an MMO because the developers count it as an MMO. In 2021, Destiny 2 is getting crossplay. In 2021, we're getting another expansion and more content and all of that. I think when you look at Beyond Light, for whatever reason, I've really struggled trying to get into it over the last couple weeks. I think I've just been busy with many games, been busy with a lot of work. So Destiny for me right now has personally fallen lower and lower down on the list. I'm hoping to change that over the holiday with a little bit of it. So essentially, I'm going to go ahead and give Destiny kind of the same kind of break point as I did with with New World. I'm going to have it fall and kind of teeter right now between A and B in terms of my hype and my excitement for the game itself. So we'll have to wait and ultimately see with that. All right, continuing on our MMO tier list, Final Fantasy XI. This is an interesting one because while I love this game, we're still told that something big is coming for the 20th anniversary, which should be in 2022 or 2023. So I don't expect much out of Final Fantasy XI over the course of this year. This is not, and again, to remind everybody, this is not the ranking of the quality of the game, but this is my hype and excitement for what the game will be doing in 2021 specifically, especially when it relates to MMOs. These are persistent games, lots of updates, lots of content to be played. All right. Furthermore, there's one more MMO on this list, and if you look at these MMOs, you're like, Brian, how are you gonna have time to play all these games? Well, honestly, it's gonna be rather difficult. But let's bring up and talk about Blue Protocol. If you guys are not following Blue Protocol, I think this game looks amazing. It looks beautiful. It feels like it's firing on all cylinders. It feels like it's learned a lot from Phantasy Star Online 2. It feels like it's learned a ton from Final Fantasy XIV, developed by Bandai Namco. This game looks gorgeous, and I'm going to rate it as a god tier along with Final Fantasy XVI and PSO2 New Genesis. So all in all, again, you can kind of see a theme here. I'm a JRPG fan. I also do enjoy my shooters and occasionally a Marvel game, I guess, at that point. But just note that that's kind of where that is looking in this case. So ultimately, I'm really excited. Hopefully they all be able to knock it out of the park. They've been doing the closed beta tests for a while now, and I'm expecting, because they are planning a global release, that we'll have a lot more to share with you guys here in 2021 about Blue Protocol. I hope they knock it out of the park. Very excited to see it. It doesn't have PvP, which is, can be fine in and of itself. Hopefully they have something to kind of help fill the gap between kind of if you were waiting for content updates, be it dungeons or new classes or what have you. So keep it locked here. I'll be sure to make sure I update you guys when more Blue Protocol updates happen. It's been almost a year back when we started updating you guys in March, and there hasn't been much to cover since then. All right, I'm going to bring in Outriders. Outriders looks really good. I'm going to rank this as a C. It kind of falls, it's not C, S. Outriders, I'm really excited for this game. It looks like it's firing on all cylinders. I said that already for a couple games. But it feels like it's a game that is just going to, I think, hopefully surprise a lot of people. I hope when Outriders launches, it just really kind of just, people are like, oh, I should pay attention to this game now. Because it feels like it's kind of quiet. They've been doing some promotions. Hopefully they've been able to learn, because this is published by Square Enix. But at the same time, it's developed by People Can Fly. Fantastic development studio. Very solid reputation there. And it gives me a lot to hope for, because it has crossplay at launch. And I think when you look at that concept, is that being that the more games support that system of crossplay and cross save and those things, I think ultimately it ends up lending itself that when your game doesn't do that, you're setting yourself at a disadvantage. Why play Avengers when Destiny, even though Avengers combat I think feels really good, especially with certain characters, Destiny automatically has cross save. So the fact that Avengers doesn't, that's a weakness. And the fact that Outriders is launching with it is a massive plus in my book, and that's why I definitely rank it up here as an S tier. Plus, we don't have to wait long. February is not too far away, And yeah, I can't wait to share more with you about that game as well. Let's shift it up. I think probably people have been here patiently waiting my thoughts on Anthem. Everybody's like, Anthem? What's going on with that game? Well, Anthem in and of itself, while we had a barren 2020, and I knew we were going to have a barren 2020, it's free as a part of Game Pass. It runs actually decently well on a Series X. But when is 2.0 coming out? Is that going to happen in 2021? I hope that it does. I don't know how much longer you can kind of delay and wait, but they gotta wait and finish it off. I'm gonna put an Anthem down here with Avengers at an F tier. Go ahead and just kind of tier it closer. I've been kind of, for some reason, doing a timeline thing here as well, but also I realized my camera is gonna block all this stuff out. But I'm going to put an Anthem down there. I'm excited for it. I really want 2.0 to be able to be something amazing to kind of address the issues that the game has had and kind of help fix a lot of that. But we'll have to ultimately wait and see what happens with Anthem in this case. I kind of feel like both are on even playing field, and to a degree. While I think Avengers had a much better and clearer story, Anthem definitely, I think, had a much better, just potential as a character with the javelins and what they're showing off at 2.0. At least it sounds like they've got a plan or a vision for it, and we'll go from there. Let's change it up. Let's have some fun. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but Super Mario 3D World, I really enjoy Mario. These are games that I really just love playing with my kids. I'm going to actually rate this as a C because I've already beaten this game before, but I'm still excited to be able to have it again on my Switch. I really also loved 3D Land. 3D World was a lot of fun. I've been really enjoying playing the 3D All-Stars with my kids. And Mario Odyssey is still one of my favorite games on the Nintendo Switch. But I'm excited that we're getting more Mario. And again, this is not a rating of the game's quality. This is just my excitement for it. And the fact is I'm looking forward to be able to pick that up. That's always a game that I feel like I can pick up, I can play, I can enjoy, and have some fun with it. All right, I want to let's bring in Tales of Arise. Tales of Arise is a great Tales. It's a brand new Tales game. And I'm going to resize it there. I'm going to put Tales of Arise here with Mario as a C. The reason is that I haven't actually played a Tales game in a while, but what they've shown off with this game looks really promising. And while we don't have a specific release date at the time of this recording, I think it's one of the games that I'm definitely going to have to pick up as quickly as possible and hopefully be able to play it and enjoy it. So just note that there's not a lot that I can really share on Tales right now. I really love Tales on the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. And for whatever reason, I haven't really dove back into that series in a long time. And if for some reason this is not related to the Tales series that I'm aware of, just let me know in the comments. But essentially, I'm just making that connection. It's one of the games I'm very much looking forward to, at least going hands-on and learning more about it in 2021. But that's kind of where it falls into a C series for me personally. Now, I'm going to bring in Bravely Default 2 for talking about our JRPGs. Bravely Default 2, it's got a 5-hour demo out now on the Nintendo Switch, and I really love Bravely Default. I really enjoyed the demo, the original demo, outside of the changes that they made. Hopefully they can make those changes, but I'm going to put this here at an A tier. For me personally, this is going to be on Switch, so it's probably not going to be a game that you see me covering a lot here on the channel, maybe outside of a handful of guides or some initial impressions. But if you guys want more content, obviously happy to make it. But at the end of the day, I think essentially Bravely Default 2, same thing along with Super Mario World, and maybe Tales of Arise are just kind of games that I just kind of chill and relax to in 2021, which is actually really I think everybody's got to have that and have those kind of games where they're, especially from a content creator's perspective, that you just straight up enjoy. All right, let's continue on. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't have a PlayStation anymore. It died, and I didn't get a chance to release play this. I tried to find some time, but this year's just been nuts and crazy. But all in all, generally positively received. I think everybody's looking forward to part 2. I don't like the fact that they broke it up in parts, but I get why they did, and the fact that it was already a massive development project. I'm going to rank this as I'm going to put this in a B tier. I'm excited for it. I think definitely when it comes out, it's a day one for me. I just am more excited for some of these other games than I personally am for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Maybe I'm weird. Let me know in that case. Not finally, we have one more game. You can kind of see Cyberpunk teased out over there. Nier Replicant. This is going to be another JRPG, the remaster or the remake of Nier in this case. I'm excited for it. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it at A tier. People are scared, like, oh, is it going D? Oh, no. A, namely because I think what I need to do before I spend time with this one, though, I need to finish Automata, and I think I could hopefully get that knocked out maybe over this holiday season. So lots of games I'm playing, and you're like, Brian, you're crazy. I am. If you look at this list, this is a crazy list. Finally, let's bring up Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk, all in all, obviously has very mixed impressions. If you're playing it on Stadia or on PC, I think you're having a good time. Obviously, CDPR, sold 13 million units after refunds of this game. I think that's a lot of it. And whether you trust that as a data source or not, I think ultimately, you know what, it evens itself out. And personally speaking, I think I'm definitely going to rank it as an S. I think I'm excited for future updates to this game. I'm enjoying this game, fearful that I'll get my save corrupted right now, and hopefully they get that bug fixed. That all being said, I'm just making multiple saved file copies and just kind of wishing myself luck and going from there. And so I'm going to keep diving into the dark future. I think there's a lot of potential there. And I think especially with update 1 and 2 next year, we see a lot of these things fleshed out, a lot of the bugs fleshed out, the world come more alive. I'm rooting for them. And so that's why Cyberpunk's on here. It's unfortunate we've had a couple games that have launched and need to continue to be worked on. And Cyberpunk is an unfortunate story out of all that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm less hyped for it in 2021, because honestly, it feels like maybe that's going to be its true release, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's go ahead and make some adjustments now as we wrap up today's tier list. Those are all my games that I'm excited for in 2021, so let me know if I missed them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move Mario down to a D, and I'm going to move Tails over to a C. Just the goal right now here is to kind of make this list a little bit more even keel, all in all. So games that I did a split on, I'm going to go ahead and move New World down. I'm going to resize the Tails box art, so that way we have a little bit cleaner of a video. And the same thing with the Halo box art. And then let's go ahead and move Ashes fully into the A category. Shadowbringers into the B, along with New World. In this case, Final Fantasy XIV. You know what, Destiny, the fact you're getting crossplay, I think that's going to become a game that I'm going to play a lot more of, and I'm very much excited to see where that goes, especially if we get a new Elemental thing. Bravely Default 2, Nier, Final Fantasy VII R, namely because I've beaten the game already. And I think this is going to be my tier list. Like, all in all, like, I only had to really make one adjustment, to this tier list itself. Blue Protocol, Final Fantasy XVI, PSO2 New Genesis, absolutely S tier. God tier. And then Halo Infinite, Outriders, and Cyberpunk S tier. Ashes of Creation, Destiny 2, The Witch Queen, Bravely Default 2, and Nier Replicant. A tier. B tier is New World, Final Fantasy XIV, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Tales of Rise. C tier, Mario 3D World. D, Final Fantasy XI. E tier, and F tier, Avengers and Anthem. And that's where we are. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you feel like I earned it, let me know in the comments below so I can welcome you officially to the Soul Nation. So be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And otherwise, if there's a game on this list or that you think should be ranked differently, let me know. Are you hyped about it differently? Again, this is not about the quality of the game, but it's about my excitement to be able to play them. And I think a lot of these things hopefully will happen pretty soon here in 2021, but we'll let you know as soon as we know. Guys, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays from Ginger Prime. From me to you, this is Brian saying I love you very much. Thanks for being a part of this crazy experiment. And thanks for being a part of the over 7% of you that have hit that subscribe button that are truly legends now. And and then when we look at just this year alone, almost 23,000 subscribers to this channel. I can't believe you guys. It's truly a humbling experience to be and do this kind of content, and the fact that you guys enjoy it. So let me know what you think about this video, specifically if you'd like to see more hype lists, or if we want to break these up into different categories. Let me know. I'm happy to kind of sit back, talk to you guys about video games, because that's what I love to do. And I love you guys again, like I said. Anyway, for Ginger Prime, I'll see you soon. Take care. This video is sponsored by me, Ginger Prime. Hopefully you'll check out my podcast channel, Ginger Gaming Radio, which we have lots of guests, lots of great conversations, and even more highlights. Links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.